Welcome to the Impact Coaching Podcast, where we help you, the ordinary millennial, unlock your extraordinary potential, helping you identify what you truly want from life to align your mindset, behaviours and actions each day towards impacting your dreams, kickstarting your journey of self-development to live with more freedom, passion and purpose. My name's James Hackney, a mindset and purpose coach, and let's get to it. Yes, good morning millennial, it's James Hackney here at the Impact Coaching Podcast. How are you doing today? In the morning, in the evening, whatever time it is that you are listening to this podcast, guys. This podcast is going out on the 18th of May 2020. We're nearly halfway through the year. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Yesterday, oh my god, yesterday I have to tell you, was the first time that I went out of Stoke-on-Trent since lockdown came about, and I went to Heaton Park in Manchester to meet my girlfriend and go for a walk. And yes, before you start, we did social distance. We kept the 2 meters apart, but it was amazing to get out and to go somewhere different other than my local estate and local town and city, should I say. So yes, good to be back, and hopefully, especially here in the UK, things are starting to ease off a little bit, and I hope everybody is safe, but more importantly, I hope everybody is moving forward in their lives each and every single day. So millennial, today I'm going to be talking to you about a realization that is happening across the world right now between millennials, and I think it's happening across every generation, but you know, I love focusing upon millennials, guys, because we are going to be powerfully impacting and positively impacting our future success and bringing forward our happiness. Now, this episode has come, it started off with a client actually. So the client that I've been coaching for a few months now, we've had about 9 sessions. And this coaching has led her to start a side hustle, a small business. And I think that we've been about 6 sessions, and it came about that she wanted to start this during lockdown. I was like, great. Let's get some coaching around that then. So we've been coaching her around her side hustle and setting up a business, and she's doing fantastically well. But today is the first day that she's going back to her job. But she wants to make a side hustle and business permanent. But today is the first day of going back to her job. And I was speaking to her towards the end of last week, and she's been telling me about how she isn't excited, how she preferred to be furloughed until August, how this isn't what she wants to be doing, and how she doesn't want to be going back, and all this kind of negative, what she doesn't want. She's, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. Now I did ask her to herself, I was like, okay, so what do you want? And this is the question that I always ask during my coaching at the start. And she's used to this question. She's like, well, James, you know what I want. I was like, yes, but what feelings do you want? How do you want to feel? When we started to get more in depth. And as we started to talk about this, I was thinking to myself, this is going to be happening all across the world. People are going to be going back. Wherever you listen to the podcast, it could be in the UK, could be in America, Spain, Portugal, Egypt, Thailand, Australia. I'm not going to name every country because it'll take up the majority of the podcast, and I don't think I can name every country, but I'm going to presume that you've had some form of lockdown or some form of life-changing scenario situations in your life that is going to change your life. And it may have changed your work life, it's changed how you work, it's changed how you interact with the world, interact with families and with people all around, but also it may have changed your mindset of how you are living your life. So this then prompted me to go look online. So I went online and I'm looking for all these groups that I'm in and all these millennial group discussions, and there was a lot about how life had changed and how they didn't want to go back to their job, how they're struggling with the anxiety, with the confidence, they've had the realization that they don't want their life to go back to what it was before lockdown. Now what I mean by that is they don't want their life to go back to the job that they dislike, the job that they are not fond of, the habits, the routines, waking up each and every single day for somebody else's dreams, earn somebody else's money. They are under the pressure of achieving something else for somebody, or they are doing things that they don't actually care about, or living comfortably. And they're having that realization that they've been putting up with that for years and years and years. And now this lockdown, and they've had time to reflect and realize that they don't actually want to go back to that old life. And it's really quite scary for me, because people are starting to wake up and realize, you know what? I knew I wasn't happy before. I knew I didn't want it. I didn't want this job. I didn't want this lifestyle. But now I've actually had lockdown and this whole virus has taken effect on the world. I've realised that I don't want that anymore. And I'm in that much pain that I really don't want that. And I'm going to struggle going back to work. I'm going to struggle going back to that old lifestyle. Now let me put a fact to you. The fact is that 75% of people know what they don't want, but don't know what they want. Let me just say that to you again. 75% of people know what they don't want, but don't know what they want. So millennial, I want to ask you, do you fall within that 75%? And if so, what is it that you don't want currently at the moment in time? Now, I'm sure you're going to have a flood of things that are going to come to you. A flood of, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want to be this kind of weight, I don't want to go back to this job, I don't want to be living like this, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be with this in this relationship, whatever it may be. But when I ask you the question, what is it that you do want? Then it may be that you've drawn a blank, that you're like, wow, actually, what do I want from life? And it's a crazy, crazy question to ask because people don't ask themselves this question. You may be that lifestyle that you've been put up with, that you've been putting up with for years and years. Lockdowns hit, and now you realise that as you spent more time with family, and okay, you may have had a few disagreements during lockdown, but that realisation of you being able to now control your time, you've left the thought of work, the stress. I've often playing this to using a metaphor, playing this, people now going back to work. Okay, not how they worked before, but some people are going back to work, maybe working from home or whatever that may be. It's like that Sunday feeling. You know that Sunday feeling that you get? That it's coming up to Sunday afternoon, you've got that dreaded feeling of going back to work on the Monday, you've had a great 2 days off where you haven't had to think about work, where you haven't had to think about the pressure, you haven't had to think about that boss who's driving you insane. It's now hit Sunday afternoon and you have that realisation, oh, I've got to think about that again for 5 days. Or this is a realisation that people are having. Okay, they may not be going back to work this week, next week, or the week after, or whenever that may be. But that realisation is getting stronger and stronger and stronger that one day they are going to have to go back to that job. They're going to have to go back to that lifestyle that they do not like, that they dislike, the habits, the routines that's giving them, dragging themselves out of bed in the mornings. Now that's that whole realisation that, okay, I don't want this, but I want to change. But you may lack the knowledge, you may lack the confidence, you may lack the understanding of what you actually want, you may lack the beliefs, you may lack the self-esteem, you may lack the self-worth to actually make that change. Because, and also I feel as well, people lack the questions. People, I love a question. People lack the questions of what they can do to positively change their life. And that's huge, because we're never taught how to change our lives. We're never taught how to change our lives for what we want. Because now people who have now realised that over the time of the virus, they don't want their old lifestyle and their job. They want more. They want something different. They've now got questions running around their mind thinking, but what do I want? What do I actually want from this life? And that can then create a feeling of the lost, the feeling down. They've got that gut feeling inside of them. Boredom, frustration. And they're asking themselves the questions of, I know what I don't want. I don't want this. But what do I want? I just don't know. And they get frustrated. And they're having that Sunday blues. And they're getting that feeling that they can do more. But you've got to ask yourself better questions. And I suggest you ask yourself better questions to get your mind ticking over toward what you want. Because you may now be asking yourself, well, what do I want from life? What value can I give to this world? What added value? What I can add more value? What more value, and how can I add that value to the world? I've got more to give, but I just don't know what that is, what I want to give, how to get there, and how to actually give that. And they're the questions that you should be asking yourself, because you have that value that's inside of you that can work towards a greater purpose. You have that burning dream inside of you that you deserve to work on, but it's all down to you taking action and seeing and visualizing what that is and fully associating yourself with that dream and with that purpose and with that value that you have inside of you. And this is one of the first things that I get you guys, you millennials, to do on these discovery calls, these free discovery calls in the hour that we have, is that I get you to really focus on what you want from life. I get you talking about what you want. I get you seeing, I get you feeling, and I get you hearing what you will hear when you achieve that dream, that goal. And that is really key, because a lot of people come along to these discovery sessions and they're like, James, I know I don't want this. They spend 10, 20 minutes telling me what they don't want. And then I say to them, okay, then what do you want? And then we break that program and that habit of focusing on what you don't want to what you do want. The realization, the smile that's on their face, their eyes are lighting up, growing big, because they are associating themselves with that dream. They are seeing themselves. You will see yourself achieving your dream, feeling, hearing what that is like. And that there is what causes fantastic motivation. And that then creates hope, that creates direction, that creates purpose to what will make you happy. And that is all through the power of goal setting. So I do invite you to an all expenses covered 1 hour discovery call with me at www.impactcoachingglobal.com/discovery, so you can discover what you want during these times of uncertainty. And it's completely natural. It's completely natural for you to have that anxiety, the lack of confidence, the lack of belief, the worry about what is happening in your life, in terms of your job, in terms of what's happening in the world. But when you discover what you want from life, when you discover where you want to go, we can then work to overcome that. We can work to overcome, because then we have a journey where we're going. It's like getting on a train and going, right, I'm going to this destination. I am going to this destination. But along the way, you have stops. And these stops can be challenges, obstacles that come in. And we can work to help you overcome them. So millennials, that link again is www.impactcoachingglobal.com/discovery. I'm looking forward to speaking to you for that hour discovery. So I just loved it. I love it. I love speaking to you guys and you discovering what you want from life, your dreams, and having that realization. So we can discover what you want, explore how to get there, and then take action on that journey. So millennials, thank you for listening to today's podcast. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to tune into the podcast. So remember that your habits and your routines will work towards your dreams. And the next episode is the interview with Zach, who is a mindset and purpose coach. So guys, I look forward to speaking to you then. It's a fantastic interview that's being released on Wednesday, and have an incredible day. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, you extraordinary millennial. If you know somebody who really needs to hear this message, make sure you help them out by sharing the podcast. And I know this has been very helpful for you. And I would like to thank everybody who has taken 2 minutes to leave a 5-star review for the podcast. And if you haven't, I would be so grateful if you could do that as well. Now I know when you are discovering what you want from life, it's confusing and overwhelming. How do I know? Because I have been exactly where you are right now. So I want to invite you to gain clarity and break down the next steps you need to take to move closer towards your dreams and goals in life, by opening up the opportunity and inviting you to book your one-to-one 1 hour discovery call with me, covering the costs at www.impactcoachingglobal.com/discovery, so you can work towards your freedom, happiness and purpose in life.